Good morning. Welcome to an episode of Weekly Spark here in the month of April. And this one is going to be pretty direct and simple. We're working with the snake this month, and I just kept getting kind of a combination of images with the hand, an egg, a snake, and a key. So I have this from a book of copyright-free illustrations. It might be the right size. If not, I can always enlarge or shrink that. But this is a laser print, so I can do a transfer with this. And I have this kind of elaborate key that I've carved in Easy Carve. So I started there. Then I went to the internet and was able to find an image that I think worked pretty perfectly for me. I think this is going to be a good size. So let me cut all the components out and start to play with some composition. This page is probably going to be pretty simple and pretty direct, but it just came to me and I wanted to put these images together. So the key and the hand are pretty much going to go in that direction. I'm debating whether I want the snake to wrap around the hand or to look like it's coming out of the egg. I'm just kind of thinking how I might transfer that. So I'm going to glue this down. And for the key, I'm actually going to use clear embossing ink and this textured powder, which works with a heat gun. This is by Seth Apter of The Altered Page. I've had it for a long time and haven't really played with it much, but I think this will be nice to give some thickness, some dimension to the key and to give it a gold tone. That should work as a resist if I do like a watercolor background. At least I'm thinking that is, so that's where my experimenting is probably going to take us. But I can get those on the page and then still decide what's going to happen with the snake. I grabbed the gel medium and I was going to use that to collage the hand onto the page. But I had a second thought, because if I'm going to do the snake transfer over top of the hand, I don't want that gel medium coating the image. It's going to make it that much harder to get the image to transfer here. So I think I'm just going to use glue stick to put it down for right now. And then there will definitely be, gel medium in the page later on to make sure that the edges get sealed down and that everything is securely in place. Well, it's also good that I didn't use any gel medium, because then I would have had this powder stuck everywhere. Okay, a little scraping, a little rolling with it. So it's going to use the heat gun. I'll try and keep the heat gun out of the way. I'm going to zoom in now, put this a little off center, because hopefully you'll get a really good view of this when it starts to melt. I will mute it because it's really loud and kind of annoying to listen to, but it's kind of magical to watch. I want the snake head to kind of just kiss at the key. So I may just go ahead and do this and not worry about the egg. I might just lay this over top of everything. I just had a thought. that this may not work because I'm transferring onto a laser print image. And I think that as I burnish the snake on, it's going to lift up the toner from the hand. I kind of want to do it anyway, just to see what happens. So it kind of worked just fine. It picked up some of the ink off the hand. So where the hand was printed in color with layering of cyan, magenta, yellow, it's brought out a lot of blues in here and taken some of the pinks down. But that's kind of great. I don't think I would have ever predicted that. So it's kind of a fun experiment. I was thinking that I would do a watercolor wash in the background, but I don't want to wash because I want to see how it resists the key. But easy enough to go around the hand. The snake is a little harder. So I might use a classic from even elementary school. I could paint the snake and I could put medium over top of it, let that dry, and then that acrylic medium would resist the watercolor paint. Yes, I can do that. I can also use wax crayon, just regular old Crayola crayons on the snake. Make sure I color, hard enough, get it waxy enough here where it's not on the hand. And then that waxiness will resist the watercolor. So I think we're going to do that. That means I just have to think color. All right, I think greens and turquoise, some chartreuse. But I'm going to take the dog outside, let her talk to nature, bark at the squirrels while I ponder that. So we'll be back in a minute. Don't go anywhere. I just had some blues and greens in these porcelain palettes so that I could mix them up with a big brush. And I just did one light wash to start with. It beat it up really nicely here around the snakes, and it beat it up perfectly around the embossed area. So it was kind of wet and kind of juicy, so I want to let that sit and wait. I'll come back and do another layer because I want it to be a little darker, a little moodier. But I sprinkled on some kosher salt so that I could get some of those puddles kind of soaked up and also have some, variations of tone in the background. So that is just going to set for a few. Let's let that run a little bit because why not? And then we're going to come back in probably with a smaller brush and a little more finesse, not such a big wash, and continue to work on that background. So stay tuned. But the resisting of the crayon and the resisting of the emboss worked really well. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. I brushed off all of the dried salt so I can do another layer of watercolor. And I actually pulled out some of the iridescent ones. I have this Duochrome Autumn Mystery. I have iridescent scarab red, which goes red-green, which, I mean, I'm tempted to just put all over everything. And I have fuchsite and duochrome aquamarine. So I'm going to start with just the autumn and the scarab first. And that may just be it. I'm just not sure. I'm almost thinking that once this dries and the tape comes off, that I might do like a gold border and then step in a 1/4 inch and then maybe do some kind of script around the piece or up the 2 sides. But it's going to have to dry before I do any of that. So in the interests of scheduling, since this is Tuesday and I want to get this out to you on Wednesday as my normal weekly Spark schedule, I'm going to say this is done. I'm going to hit it with a heat gun so that we can peel that tape off and see how it looks complete at this stage. Oh. I am kind of tempted to get out the gold and silver gel pens, maybe even the white gel pen. The snake overlay over the egg and the hand was already playing with transparency so much. You know, we get such a different read on the snake where the pale of the egg is behind it since I was layering transparent images. So I figured why not just play with that a little bit and use the silver and the gold and kind of outline them. I do think that helps the snake show up because that edge of the egg is clear enough without doing anything to it. I will consider whether I want to have maybe a black outline or maybe I want to do the text that I mentioned, because I did have some tearing where the tape peeled up some of the paper. There was a lot of salt there, so I think that was part of the cause. So I might want to do a border just to help camouflage that. But for now, I'm going to leave this as is with this first page about the snake with an egg and a key. Kind of mysterious, kind of earthy, you know, chthonic of the deep earth. So yeah, I hope that you get some time to take it to the page on your own and that you're enjoying these episodes of Weekly Spark. If so, of course, I'd love to have you like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you next week. So have a great week. Hope you get to take it to the page.